So here we are today. We know that the engine runs and it's time to get this front clip of the Polaris 440 attached to the tractor. So the tractor frame already has some holes right there and right there, and they're about 10 1/4 inches apart. So I'm going to utilize those to start building my front subframe. So I've got these pieces of 2-inch, 1/4-inch tubing, and I'm going to square these ends because I'll end up welding to the face of these, I believe. And then I'm going to drill a hole here, which is 1 3/8 from the face, 7/8 of an inch down. And then I'm going to zero out and move over 10 1/4 and down 1/8, so I have my second hole. And then I will make my counterbore holes on the top so I can fit a socket through. I'm going to need to trim that front plate so the steering can do its thing. I might even need to trim the back plate of the axle mount for the stock 1054 frame. So if I've got the frame from here to here supporting this front end, and I'll probably also do some type of a drop tab from the top of that tube back up as well to keep that this way, and then come from back here all the way to this. I think I'll be golden. And I've got some round bar, so if I need to do round bar and bend to get around the exhaust or whatever, I'll be able to do that too. Well, that's enough thinking. I'm pretty sure I have a plan, so it's time to get to work. All right, my first piece is done. Now I just need to duplicate and get working. So I was originally thinking I would just make tabs that went from the outside tube to the shock mount. But I found this 1/4-inch plate, so I've cut it to length, and I'm sure I'll have to trim it and shape it a little bit later. But what I'm going to do is use some like heavy paper shim stock between the tubing and the frame, and then bolt those all in place. And then I'm going to tack this centered in the tractor and level to the tractor. So that way I can clamp this front clip in place without the shocks bolted on or anything else, and transfer my holes from the back side, and then start working on, see if I can attach anything down here, whatever clearance I have to do for the steering, etc. Well, check this out. That is a Snowmotractor sitting on its own, holding its own weight up for the time being. I definitely need to make more efforts to support this whole cradle, and I think I have some ideas on how to make that work pretty well. This is a 1/4-inch plate here on this front side, and I think I might be able to make some gussets right here, just on the back side of this plane where the shock mount goes. And I also thought about maybe making some arms. I don't know if I want to double shear this or if I just want to say that that's enough. I still think I can support here too, so there's all kinds of room for strengthening and gusseting. Another thing I need to keep in mind is that I should build this strong but not overweight. So I've got a little double shear plate on the back of this. I'm going to have to mirror it for the other side, but there's a gusset there that wasn't over here. So that way I can put one more bolt through and pinch this entire assembly without just using the shock mount. So I'll have 4 bolts holding the whole cradle to the front, and then I'm going to plate this, bolt some 1/4-inch plates to that, and have some kickers coming back, and that'll make this front end real good and stout. Okay, the subframe is bolted back in, and I have built some double shear points and did some clearancing on the front end So I have some preliminary clearance for the steering, and so that's cool. And the double shear is done on this side as well, and it does hold its own weight. So once again, it's working. I've got more work to do before I can move to the steering wheel / handlebars, and it basically is building the trailing arm mounts, because these are still loose, and then building a brace from this steel plate that I bolted in to back here. So I think this front is probably strong enough, but there's really no reason not to use some maybe 1-inch round tubing and just build a little kicker brace there. It'll definitely help with hits that are hard, and that way the trailing arms won't have to take up all of that abuse. So thanks again for watching, and I'm really excited to get this thing moving soon. Oh, it's going to be awesome.